Welcome to Winging It. I'm Mark Street and I'll be your pilot for this episode. Today we will be exploring a topic that every pilot ensures they are very familiar with, well before the plane even leaves the ground: aviation meteorology. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff as we explore the wild weather phenomena that challenges pilots and captivates meteorologists. So let's start with what is aviation meteorology. Put simply, it's the study of everything that makes up weather, including winds, temperatures, air pressures and even clouds. And it's not simply knowing where the clouds are. We pilots dive deeper and explore the types of clouds, how much cloud, and even how much of the sky is covered by clouds. Pilots use a number of forecasting and planning tools to ensure your next flight is a safe and a smooth one. So let's explore some of the weather phenomena that pilots may encounter. I was just talking about clouds. Let's explore clouds a little more. There are different types of clouds. Perhaps the most interesting one, though, in aviation is the cumulus cloud. Typically seen as dense detached clouds, these can be formed by various means, but usually require what's called a condensation nucleus, air with lots of water vapour, and a means of cooling this parcel of air. After all, warm air can hold more water vapour, whereas cooler air holds less water vapour. If these cumulus clouds become really tall, such as near the equator, they can be called towering cumulus. These are potentially very dangerous as the air inside and near these clouds is very unstable and can result in a number of effects for aircraft, which we will shortly discuss. So when cumulus clouds are associated with very unstable air and become very dense, they form what's called cumulonimbus clouds, also known as thunderstorms. Now, thunderstorms have a life cycle, believe it or not. They go through a towering cumulus stage, a maturation stage, and finally a dissipating stage. Now let's explore what weather phenomena can be seen with thunderstorms. Meet the microburst. These are intense downdrafts, and when an aircraft encounters a microburst, it can experience a rapid loss of altitude. It's like hitting an air pocket that just drops you like a passenger on a roller coaster ride. An example of an accident because of a microburst was in 1985, a Delta flight aircraft that was coming into land into Fort Lauderdale, Texas. A large supercell was in the vicinity of the airport. On final approach, the aircraft began to rapidly lose airspeed and altitude. They were caught in a large microburst, forcing them towards the ground. The crew attempted to power out of the microburst. However, the microburst was just too strong, and the aircraft impacted the ground some 2 kilometres short of the runway. All 135 passengers and crew on board unfortunately perished in the accident. As a result of this accident, a strong focus was placed on bettering the understanding of the weather associated with thunderstorms, including microbursts, as well as pilot training on microburst escape manoeuvres. Turbulence. What is it? Well, there are generally two types. One is often associated with thunderstorms due to the strong convective or rising pockets of air, and the other is clear air turbulence. Now, thunderstorm-associated turbulence is often detectable with the use of onboard weather radar that displays where moisture is present and possible turbulence. And in fact, many operators around the world provide protocols for avoiding thunderstorms by certain distances. Clear air turbulence, on the other hand, is very difficult to detect. Clear air turbulence is caused by air currents at high altitudes, often near jet streams. It's unpredictable and can be severe, so pilots rely on reports from other aircraft and meteorological predictions to avoid it. Whilst turbulence during flight is fairly common, fatalities are rare. Some notable events that have resulted in fatalities include United Airlines Flight 826 en route from Tokyo to Honolulu. During flight, the aircraft encountered turbulence and one passenger struck the overhead compartment. As a result of the passenger's injuries, sadly the passenger died. More recently, Singapore Airlines Flight 321, operating from London to Singapore, encountered turbulence. It's not clear at this stage what led to the turbulence event. However, it's clear from video footage taken by passengers the result of the turbulence event, with debris strewn across the plane's interior and a jungle of oxygen masks hanging from the ceiling. Sadly, a male passenger passed away. Modern aircraft are able to withstand turbulence forces a great deal more, and in fact, aircraft such as the Boeing 787 has vertical and lateral gust suppression systems installed, which dampens the amount of oscillations that can occur with turbulence. Still, it is a good reminder to always wear your seatbelt whenever seated. With time, technology will be able to detect air turbulence, particularly clear air turbulence. In fact, NASA is currently working on such technology. The idea is to use infrasonic microphones that can pick up ultra-low frequencies produced by turbulence, possibly as far as 300 miles away. Another weather phenomenon associated with thunderstorms is lightning. Lightning is essentially a discharge of electricity due to differences in positive and negative charges between clouds and the ground. Air acts as an insulator. However, when the charges become too great, the insulator breaks down, and the result is often a fantastic light show in the sky. Now, modern aircraft are designed to withstand and dissipate lightning should an aircraft be struck, and is usually of little consequence to the aircraft and its occupants. But possibly the most interesting story was of a Delta Airlines flight in the early 1990s that was cruising at a high altitude, passing through an area of scattered thunderstorms. The pilots were well aware of the potential for lightning, but were flying in what they believed was a safe path through the weather. Suddenly, the aircraft was struck by lightning. The lightning hit one of the wingtips and travelled through the fuselage. This is a common path for lightning, as the metal skin of the aircraft provides a conductive path that safely dissipates the energy. The lightning strike caused static charge in the cabin. This resulted in passengers' hair standing on end due to the build-up of static electricity. Imagine a cabin full of people suddenly looking like they'd stuck their fingers in an electrical outlet. Let's talk about ice. Feel like an ice-cold drink? Well, World War II German fighter pilots certainly did. Legend has it that they suspended bottles of cola from the underside of the wing in order to cool the drinks for their arrival back on terra firma. Aircraft flying through cloud and sub-freezing temperatures are likely to experience some degree of icing. Ice has some detrimental effects on an aircraft's performance, including disrupting the airflow of the wing and increasing resistance known as drag. Ice can also add weight to the aircraft, as well as damage propellers or turbine compressor blades. Modern passenger aircraft have a range of de-ice and anti-ice equipment on board, so as to dissipate and remove as much ice as possible from the airframe. However, severe ice still has the potential to cause issues. There have been numerous aviation accidents as a result of icing. One notable one was Scandinavian Airlines Flight 751. The MD-81 aircraft encountered severe engine failure shortly after takeoff from Stockholm due to ice dislodging from the wings and being ingested by the engines. Both engines failed, and the pilots managed to glide the aircraft to a crash landing in a field. Remarkably, there were no fatalities among the 129 people on board. This incident led to design changes in aircraft to prevent ice ingestion. Now, it should be noted that these examples haven't been provided to showcase how dangerous flying is. On the contrary, aviation is incredibly safe, and major incidents are exceedingly rare. Now, pilots use a host of tools to ensure your flight is as safe and smooth as possible. We use weather forecasts that are displayed as almost cryptic-looking codes, synoptic charts, wind profile charts, satellite imagery, weather radars, weather balloons, and drone data, weather probes on the ground, and much, much more. As time proceeds, this technology will only improve, so rest assured, a great deal of effort is put into understanding weather. Now, I thought I might end each podcast with an interesting aviation story. In 1975, an Eastern Airlines aircraft encountered a frozen bird strike with a bar-headed goose at an altitude of 37,000 feet. Well, there you go. We have reached the end of our tour of aviation meteorology. From microbursts to frozen birds, the skies are full of surprises. Thanks for joining me on Winging It, and don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast series. Until next time, safe adventures.